This is Corbin's dad.
I'm Mark.
And this is what we like to do.
Yeah, this is
What's up, all you Kevins? This car is cool, but the story behind it is even cooler. Stay tuned, watch the whole video. This thing came out of the ivy in the jungle behind the building, given away, and this teenager has brought it back to life. Nice to meet you, bud.
nice to meet you.
Yeah, welcome to YouTube. Welcome to the channel and the car. I'm blown away from the post I saw your dad make and the pictures that were on there in such a little amount of time of what this looks like versus what it did.
It's definitely came a long way, but there's tons of, it don't look like much, but there's a lot that went into it. I would say that most of the car has been gone through. It may not have been all at once, but each section has been gone through the car between. Okay, it was an original 4-cylinder car, went through, did everything, convert to a V8, went as far as changing the K member to make it a V8 car.
Wow.
Went into detail with it just because that's what you do.
Yeah.
You build it how you want it. And
So starting back a little further, first off, how long have you had this car?
About a year and a half. I got it in May last year.
And you were how old when you got it?
17.
17 years old, Foxbody.
Just turned 17 and graduated.
That's
so,
awesome.
There you go.
All right, so where'd you find this car?
So, funny story. A friend of ours, a good family friend of ours, he actually bought a property in our downtown area. And the car was sitting on the property. Somehow it got worked into the deal and everything else. Well, the car is sitting on the property, and he calls my dad and asks, "What's this car worth? I need to get something out of it. It's sitting here, it's costing me money." And my dad got to the phone, does a little bit of digging. We included it to be about, I don't know, you know how Foxbodies are, overpriced, you know. But
could be anything.
Could be anything. And I mentioned his name's Mark. I called him. I said, "Mark, how much do you want for the car? I'd like to have it." He says, "Well, it's sitting here. It's costing me money. If you come get it today, you can have it." I said, "I'm on my way."
You can have it.
You can have it. It was, and as soon as we got there, it started pouring down the rain, which actually helped us out because the brakes were locked up. We just pulled it out of the mud, everything else. When I pulled the rear end and gas tank out of it, I, no joke, cut out probably 100 pounds of just, I guess, ivy and
gunk,
leaves, mud, whatever.
Wow. Okay, so tell us what's going on up front. What have you done here?
Well, this would be the fourth motor that's been in here, starting with the
How many?
Fourth.
Since you had it?
Since I've had it.
Oh my gosh.
We started out with the original 4-cylinder motor. I got it to the house. I was like, man, I always trying to get this thing running. Well, the 4-cylinder motors, the timing belt breaks on them, so that didn't happen. So we pulled that out, and we had a 302 out of an 89 LX, motor, transmission, all of it. So we put it in there. That was our first motor. What was neat about that motor was we took the stock heads, the stock E7T heads, ported them ourselves, cut them for roller rockers, for studs, and put the Infinite's B cam in it, B303.
There you go.
With a Explorer intake, GT40 intake on it. And that was our first little go around with it. And about that time I got it there, it was the time for Foxtober to happen. Last year.
Foxtoberfest of 2023.
2023. We get to the gas station to fill up, car shuts off.
Oh.
Can't start it. Get to it. We've had this issue before, and it was a ground issue with the harness I had in it, which was a factory Ford racing harness. Something happened to it. It wasn't working. So the computer went bad and couldn't do it. So my brother's car, we took the computer out of it, put it in it, drove it home, had my mom drive me to the gas station, my brother's computer, to put it in his car, and we took his car to Foxtoberfest.
Oh my gosh.
That was the first go around with the motor.
First engine.
First engine. So everything goes along, it's good. It was good for about a year. Drove it, put a couple thousand miles on it or so. I drive this thing every day. I love this thing. Drive it
so
every
you
day.
Drive it every day, but
every day.
And before you go to the next engine, then you hop out of this thing, and then you get on this mountain bike that you custom made. This thing's crazy. My son's 14, he's all about it. And I want you to keep telling everybody the story, but I just keep looking at it. I'm like, this is not what you normally see.
I think the mountain bike's got an equally as cool story. Equally as cool. And the bike rack too.
So cool.
It's all one of those things like, why would you buy it when you can make it?
Right.
Why would you buy it when you can make it?
If you run out of gas, you can keep going.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, me and my dad built this bicycle for when I was racing downhill mountain bikes. And there's a lot of neat, trinkety things on it, like the back shocks off of MotoGP. It's just a bunch of neat, trinkety stuff. The cranks on it are titanium. Just cool stuff like that. But
so obviously your dad is into cars.
my dad's a fabricator for a living, so
there you go. So that helps.
it does.
You've learned a few things along the way.
Maybe one or two.
All right.
The first motor was good for about a year or so.
Okay.
And then I got to watching videos and everything else, and I've heard this whistling noise coming from under the hood of a couple of Foxbodies. I asked my dad, what's that? He said, oh, it's a Vortex supercharger. I was like, I want one of them. So I searched Facebook Marketplace, scouring for one, and I ended up actually finding an old school V1 S-trim supercharger, which makes the gear noise. And
Plenty loud.
Plenty loud. And I put it on the other motor we had with the E7T heads and ended up dropping the valve. Dropped the valve in those, broke a rocker arm, and that was the end of that motor.
All right. So then the next iteration.
This is the next motor that's in here now. It's a 302 bored 40 over, so was it 308 at that point? Stock crank, eagle rods, maul pistons, trick flow 170 heads, I believe. Edelbrock Performer intake with a Vortex supercharger on it. It was all good and everything. Well, we were driving it. I had rocker arms on it fell. The rocker arm fell, and the little retainer of the rocker arm, we thought we got all the pieces out of the valve cover. Well, that little piece got into the oil pan, got around the oil pickup tube, into the oil pump, locked the oil pump up, and lost oil pressure. And with the supercharger on the front, pulling on the crank, it spun the front main bearing.
Oh my gosh.
So that was the third motor.
Third try.
And this is the fourth time. We just got this wrapped up today, actually.
Literally 20 minutes before you came here to meet me.
20 minutes, got it wrapped up.
We're at National Parts Depot in Charlotte. You guys live, what, 30, 40 minutes from here?
In Mooresville, just about. So we pulled that motor out. Well, luckily this thing didn't mess the block up. So
good.
Ordered a crank off Amazon, had it primed 2 days. It was an Eagle crank, so we put an Eagle crank in it with the Eagle rods, the maul pistons, same heads, and same intake, same supercharger. All we did is basically change the crank. We put it in here, and it seems to be running good. It makes good oil pressure.
Yeah, I rode down just a minute. It seemed to be fine.
It runs good. It drove here. On the highway here, it ran no harder than like 170.
That's awesome.
Cool as it could be.
That's great.
And when we did this motor this time, I did a bunch of other little trinkety things. Like I got rid of the small blow-off valve on the bottom. I put the big red ProCharger blow-off valve on it.
Yeah. And
over here, we actually put a dipstick tube off of a 94.5 Mustang here to get it to clear the header a little bit better. Another little trinkety thing. And we put a power steering pulley off a 99 to 04 V6 Mustang to slow the power steering down. Just little things like that. And when we took it out, we painted the brackets, painted the front accessories, painted the motor, just try to give it a better look.
Yeah, that's right.
But
so cool. So was this the color you wanted? You're like, hey, because it looks like reef blue.
It is reef blue.
Okay. You liked this color.
I didn't care what color it was. It just had to be a coupe. All it had to be.
Had to be a coupe.
Had to be a coupe.
Gotta love the coupe. All right, so that's the engines, all of them, and now we're at a good place. So looks like you've done some wheel change out here and some brakes. Tell us about that.
So we'll start with the wheels. We'll start with the wheels here. The funny story on the wheels was the neighbor has a 1970 Mustang, and he wanted to do a T5 in it, get rid of the automatic that was in it. I said, okay. So I did put the T5 in his car for him, and he's like, what do I owe you? I said, what about those wheels sitting in the corner? Well, what's happening to these wheels? So I traded out putting a transmission in his car for the wheels. And these wheels are actually, if I'm not mistaken, off of a CB, 96, 98 Roush.
Yeah, I was going to say they look like Roush wheels.
The Roush wheels. And then
you got the wheels on trade.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Had them powder coated. This, I forget what, charcoal color.
Yeah. Nice, like a dark charcoal gray.
And here's the thing with the brakes. If you see the brakes in the front, they're, the size of my hand.
Yeah.
Those are off of a 2020 up Mustang Performance Pack on the new S550.
Uh-huh.
They are like When I say a car has so much brake, you'll wreck the car with the brakes.
Yeah.
This is that car.
Right.
We actually took the spindles, cut the spindles, and when we cut the spindles, we actually welded up and made caliper mounts to put those on there. The brake rotor is off a, see, what was the S197 GT500 rotors on the front, and it all fits behind an 18-inch wheel.
That's crazy. So on the back, what brakes did you use on the back?
The back is a rear end out of a 94, 95 Mustang.
Gotcha.
That's just put the whole rear end in there, everything. Didn't do nothing to it. Actually, took the rear end out and packed an extra clutch in there. Make the pause unit a little bit tighter.
Gotcha, okay.
Other than that, that's it.
Very cool, all right. So after that, obviously you've done other stuff. You painted the car.
Well,
or you had it painted.
Bits and pieces.
Okay.
We painted the front bumper on it. We actually finished that up last night. And then the trim molding on the other side, the quarter panel trim, we had that painted. And then I think that's all we've had painted on it. We did cut and buff the paint to make it a little bit more shiny. Other than that, that's all we did the paint work wise. Oh, we resprayed the top of the doors and stuff. That's pretty much it, exterior wise.
Nice. Did you do anything on the interior?
Actually, yeah. If you look, it's got a 1,000,000-mile speedometer in it, the SSP one
there
reached
you
160.
go. So we got a 1,000,000-mile
Speedometer.
SSP speedometer in here.
Mm-hmm.
That's
and the
pretty
matches
cool.
steering wheel to go with it. When I got the car, actually the window was cracked enough I could stick my finger between the top of the glass and the door. So the inside was real molded. It took forever to get cleaned up. Oh, we did rewrap the bottom of the door panels to get rid of the bags because they were stuffed full of maps and everything else.
Map pockets, yeah.
There's some stuff in here. This guy drove it all the way to New Jersey, the original owner.
Okay.
Believe it or not, I'm second owner.
Really?
Second owner of the car, according to the Carfax.
That's crazy.
So.
All right, so then you said, look, I got to have this trailer hitch, right? So.
Trailer hitch, I mentioned to my dad, I was like, I need a trailer hitch for this car to put my bike on the back. And he was like, well, we can make one. I said, no, I want one that for the car. So, believe it or not, a friend of ours bought a 89 convertible, brand new. And he had the hitch put on to his jet skis. And he's cleaning up his house. He found it. He says, do you want this? I said, yup, I'll put it on there.
That's crazy. All right, what else? Anything else have you done to the car, driveline wise, transmission,
so this
differential,
our second
suspension?
Our second transmission's in it.
Oh, okay.
The first transmission was a world-class Z-Spec T5. It shifted fine and everything, but with the new motor that's in there, it wasn't going to hold up and last. So we put a 3550 in it. Found a good deal on it in South Carolina, so drove all the way down there to get it, brought it back.
Love it.
And it's one of those things that's ups and downs. We got the car all the way apart, put the transmission in it, because it looked fine. It ain't been apart. You know, how you can tell it ain't been apart before with the silicone that's on it. Or we put it in there, drive shaft ain't sliding in. The input shaft was actually, or the output shaft was actually twisted on it.
Oh no.
So here I am pulling the transmission back out of it, swapping the bell housing, putting the T5 back in there, getting it all back together. Well, anyways, found the parts, got the 3550 fixed, and put it back in there, and that's what's in there now.
That's too cool, man.
Suspension-wise, only thing we did suspension-wise is stock control arms in the front, but we actually took and cut the back of them, made them high clearance, so you can get full lock-to-lock with these wheels without them scrubbing the control arms.
There you go.
And the shocks are the B9s, or for Bilstein for like the 0304 Cobras.
Uh-huh.
That's what it has all the way around.
Very cool.
And then the QA1 caster camber plates.
Gotcha.
They say they're for their struts, but we made them work with those because I like the way they look.
You guys did a lot of work, man. This is such a cool project. I would suggest anybody doing this did a ton of work, but a teenager that is doing this is like, to me, it's next level, because one, these cars are 40 years old now.
Just about.
I love it that there's young guys wanting to get involved in this, you know, community, and the Foxbody world is so cool. So that you took this thing from literally free to now as a coupe, the way it sits, I bet somebody would pay you 12 to 15 grand for this car.
I've already had it offered, and I said no.
I see. Look at that.
The deal was when I got the car, I wasn't allowed to sell it. If I sold it, I had to sell it to the guy that gave it to me.
I love it.
Oh, another thing was too, I did do stainless brake, fuel lines all the way from plastic tube on it.
So cool.
Oh, another thing, we did the Holley Terminator X.
Yeah, you did. You had some ECU problems, or you would have made it last year.
Yep, and then we put a Terminator X on it, and it fixed it. I really like it because, well, I can do the fans. I can run the actually boost control too. You run a lot of stuff off of it. It's what's running the supercharger, the fans.
I noticed you're doing some data logging even right now.
Yeah, I was on the way here. We were making sure everything was running good oil pressure, good coolant temps, just making sure it's good enough to make it till Saturday.
I love it, dude. Dude, it's very cool. Congratulations. I mean, I know your dad's proud. I love that you guys did this car. I love that you've done so much of the work yourself. You've obviously learned a lot about it from your dad. And just working on the Foxbody.
I think we were talking about it earlier. I said I could have the motor out of the car in 2 hours. It's got to that point. But the exhaust is actually something pretty special. It was a hodgepodge of a little bit of this and a little bit of that. The same guy I actually got the wheels from had his Hellcat. He had the resonators taken off of it, and the resonators have actually a cast stainless X pipe. So he's throwing them out, asked if I can have it. He said sure. So the X pipe on it, or the little X piece itself, came off of a Hellcat, and we made the rest of it, which went to the Flowmaster American Thunder catback that has the Flow FX mufflers on it. And with a supercharger on it, it definitely has a unique sound that doesn't sound like any other Foxbody.
I love it. Crank it up for us. Let's hear this thing. What would you want to say to other teenagers that are watching this video on YouTube going, man, I wish I had a cool car?
Get your buddies together and just do it. If you don't know how to do it, there's enough people on Facebook or even old forums. If you look them up, I can't tell you how many times that's helped me solve something so stupid before. Like with the sting.net or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just ask. There's people that know these things and they're not as complicated as they seem. Trust me, they're not. Just go get something. It could be the biggest piece of crap ever.
Get something free like him if you can.
Just build it, do it how you want, have fun with it. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Just do it how you want. I
love it, man. That is awesome. Well, thank you so much for bringing the car. Thanks for doing the video with me.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're here. Foxtoberfest is gonna love this story and this car. You guys gotta comment. Please share the video. Thanks again. Thanks for watching the whole video. Hit the like, hit the thumbs up, do whatever you want to do. Appreciate it. Leave a comment, support the local community. This young guy is doing amazing things with these cars. Thanks for watching the video. We'll see you next time.